Okay, good afternoon, everybody. We had completed this play and we have to discuss questions and extra questions. So, this play written in the 1950s, open page number 52 of your books. This play written in 1950s is a humorous and satirical depiction of the status of the mother in the family. What are the various issues that it raises? कौन से issues हैं? What are the issues that this play raises? Take it off. ऊंची बोलो. The family takes mother for granted. It highlights that nobody cares for her, how much she does, how much effort she puts in for all of them. What else? Online students. What else? Bolo?
Ma'am, because she doesn't get any wages for the work she does, she is not as respected as the father of the family or any other member who has a salary for the work they do.
Yes, she doesn't get any wages for the work she does. She's not as much respected as the father is, or any other member of the family, as she says, who is paid for the work that they do. So, do you think it caricatures these issues, or do you think that the problems it raises are genuine? How does the play resolve the issues? Do you agree with the kind of resolution? What about the problems that the play raises? Are they genuine, or is it just caricaturing the issues? Genuine issues. And how does the play resolve the issues? Online students. How does the play resolve the issues?
The issues are resolved.
Huh?
Like there's a quote, if you don't get respect, take it or snatch it. So here, ma'am, the woman takes the respect by just telling how they should treat her, and this is how they resolve all the issues.
If you don't get respect, take it and or snatch it. So, but do you think the kind of resolution that it offers is all right? Do you agree with the kind of resolution? Is it practical resolution, the swapping in of personalities and things like that?
No, ma'am, it is not practical, obviously. This cannot happen in real life. But as a play, if we just think of it, it is a good one, like
Yes.
a humorous one.
Yes, good. Is drama a good medium for conveying? Third question. Leave the second question and tell me, is drama a good medium for conveying a social message? Discuss. Badao? Speak up. And it is a good medium because people can relate to whatever is happening. Anybody else? Students respond. Is drama a good medium for conveying a social message? If it is, how? Shivani?
Yes, ma'am. Drama is a very effective medium of conveying a social message, ma'am. The audience get a real idea of the problem and they get an instant opinion about it.
Okay, Ashish, you want to add on to it?
Drama also conveys that the housewife and the mother should also be equally respected as the father does. If she doesn't make any contribute to the income for the house, she must be equally respected as father.
Okay, so what I could make out from what the students have said is that they can easily relate to, if they listen to the conversation that goes on, if it is in the form of a dialogue, then people can easily relate to it and be asking a few extra questions and you have to answer. And each and everyone has to participate. Okay? Not just one or two students. Mehek, you want to say something? Please don't turn your mics on.
You have to do only 3 questions.
You have to do only 2 textbook questions, 1 and 3. Okay, there's no need to do 2. There's no need to do second one. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you can do the second one also. If you were to write about these issues today, what are some of the incidents, examples and problems that you would think of as relevant? ये सारा ये आपका generalized question है, and all the issues that this play raises, they are relevant in today's context also. So you can do this question too. 1, 2 and 3. That is it from textbook, and the other extra questions I would be sending, I would be sharing. But let me first ask a few questions. Okay? Why does Mrs. Pearson agree to Mrs. Fitzgerald's suggestion of exchanging personalities? Why does she agree to it? You speak one by one and speak loudly. Yes, Gargi, bolo.
She also wanted the changes in the conditions she was living in. She was fed up with her family taking her for granted, but she didn't know what to do to make changes. So she agreed that if she cannot do it, then she can let someone else.
Because she's not able to, because she, the kind of personality that she's having, she's a very, docile, very mild and a gentle kind of a person. She is by nature very submissive and very tolerant. So she doesn't know where to start from and how to do it. So, and if she feels that if she cannot do it, then she should let somebody else do it for her. Okay. What is the risk involved in the swapping of personalities according to Mrs. Pearson? Online students, what is the risk involved in the swapping of personalities? क्या risk है बेटा इसमें?
May I?
हाँ जी, महक बोलो.
Well, the risk was that once they had already changed their personalities, but Mrs. Pearson was afraid that if they could not change their personalities again,
Yes.
so she would be in Mrs. Fitzgerald's body forever.
And she felt that if okay, for once it's okay, but if they were unable to swap back into their original personality, then what would happen to her and to her life? So that was the risk she felt. Okay, what was the initial reaction of Doris on seeing her mother after the exchange of personalities? What was the initial reaction of Doris? Somebody else, not the one who has answered before. Somebody else. बताओ आप बताओ. कशिश बोलो.
She was shocked, and after she felt that her mother was her personality was changed, she started crying.
What was happening in the house when she entered?
Ma'am, she told her mother to iron the yellow dress for the party, but she denied her to iron that. And when she asked for the tea, she refused and told her to make her.
Initially, when she enters the house, she was shocked to see her mother smoking. Okay, and then she gets to know that her mother has not made any tea for them, and then about that ironing of the dress. Okay, what is Mrs. Pearson's opinion of Charlie Spence, and how does Doris react to it? Online students, but not Mehak again. What is Mrs. Pearson's opinion of Charlie Spence, and how does Doris react to it? Bolo. What is
That Mrs. Pearson has a very poor opinion of Charlie Spence, and she feels he's not suitable for Doris as he has buck teeth and half-witted. Doris is very upset to hear about that, and she starts crying.
She starts crying because Mrs. Pearson, as from our conversation, it is clearly visible that Mrs. Pearson doesn't like Charlie Spence, and she even goes to the extent of saying that she wouldn't be seen dead with him. And she also says that if I were your age, I would have found a better guy, or I would have considered myself a bad job, a bad shot, a bad job. This is what she said. So you can even quote the lines of the text, and you can write them in inverted commas in some of your answers. Okay. Next is, how does Mrs. Pearson shock her husband, George? How does she shock?
Yeah.
Yes, Mehak. Bolo.
Ma'am, she tells him that all the people in his club make fun of him by saying Pompey Pearson, which he didn't know, and he also asked his son Cyril. He also replied that they all make fun of him, by which he was very upset.
Yes. What else? Anybody who can add on to it? The Mridul? Yes, very good. Yes.
He didn't want it, but still she had not prepared it yet.
Yes.
And also she was smoking and daytime also.
She
all
was.
these incidents.
Yes. All these incidents, it is more of a shock than a surprise for the husband. Okay. Good. Next is, why do Cyril and Doris, they start guffawing and giggling on seeing Mrs. Pearson? Yes. Why do they suddenly start guffawing and giggling? What is it that they are expecting? What kind of a scene are they expecting?
May I?
Ma'am,
Yes, Ananya?
yes, ma'am. Ma'am, according to Doris and Cyril, ma'am, Mrs. Pearson was somewhat a totally opposite person from Mrs. Fitzgerald, and what they were seeing was something they not even thought in their dreams. She was smoking and playing tarot cards, and the tea wasn't ready, so they just started giggling and thought that maybe she's gone mad or hit herself her head or somewhat like that, because she was something they never thought. And
Yes. And they started guffawing and giggling because they felt that when the father would come in, when George would come in, they would be greatly amused to see the kind of scene that would have been created, because the father would not tolerate such kind of things in his house. He would not tolerate any nonsense, and they were in anticipation of that scene which they would be witnessing when the father comes in and the mother would behave like that as she was behaving with them when she would behave like that with her husband. So just thinking about that scene, that made them guffaw and giggle. Okay. How is Mrs. Pearson's family going to get a nasty disappointment? How are they going to get? How is the family going to have a nasty disappointment? Yes.
And they wanted her to do a figure by cooking or making a veg. They have to ask her very nicely.
Yes, very good.
And they want her to be after them and pleasing them every time they want something, and they will be fantastic.
Disappointment in the form that she might take a yes, a weekly off. She might go somewhere for the weekend because she wanted that they should ask for the things that they want her to do for them, and they should also be thankful. They should also be grateful for each and everything that she does for them. How is Mrs. Pearson little more than a servant in her own house? How is she little more than a servant in her own house? How is Mrs. Pearson little more than a servant in her own house? Nandika. Hmm. Yes, 24/7 she is. What does she do 24/7? क्या करती है वो? She is. She works for them. She just tries to make them happy, and they on the other hand, they behave rudely with her, and she just takes orders for them. She's at the beck and call of her family. She doesn't get any wages, and the kind of job that she does for them, it is a kind of a thankless job. Nobody pays any attention to her. She's just like a housekeeper, and she's just like a servant because they don't take her out. They just keep on enjoying themselves. They come home, they order her to get things ready for them, and then they go again. So she's taken for granted, and whatever she does, it is for them, and she gets nothing in return. Okay. Why does Mrs. Fitzgerald ask Mrs. Pearson not to make an apology or give any explanation to the members of her family? Why does she say that you should not make any apology, you should not give any explanation to the members of her family? बताओ? All the efforts would go down the drain if she would just start apologizing, if she would start explaining her actions, and then she would be back to square one, and things would start from there only. So that is why she said that she has to they would go back to their old way, and she has to have a firm hand. She has to be strict with them. She has to deal with them strictly. Mrs. Fitzgerald and Mrs. Pearson, they follow a different set of values. Which of them is a better set of values to follow in modern time? In modern times. Yes. What is the difference between the characteristics of the two? and which of them has a better set of values? Which set of values are more appropriate for modern times?
Mrs. Pearson is very kind and very careful of others' feelings, and she understands others' feelings over and over. Whereas Mrs. Fitzgerald believes that her own feelings also matter, and it's not always the other person's feelings you have to value. Sometimes you have to put yourself above the others.
Yes.
That you don't get trampled upon by others. In modern times, Mrs. Fitzgerald's viewpoint can be considered as the ideal viewpoint because people get selfish as a damn reason, and you have to put yourself before others.
Sometimes you have to think about yourself and you have to keep yourself above the others. It is not that you can always be, sometimes you have to be self-centered, and sometimes you have to have your viewpoint also be considered by the others. So in that way you can say that because Mrs. Pearson is a very naive, very simple, very decent and submissive kind of a lady, and in modern times such a person, it is very difficult for such a person to survive. So according to the play, if we have only these two prominent characteristics, important people, so Mrs. Fitzgerald appears to be her values appear to be more appropriate, although we can do away with certain things, certain habits of hers, which like she drinks and she smokes, and those habits, just keep them aside, and otherwise the kind of we can have a mix, or we can have a mix of both the personalities, and that is all. That is all as far as this chapter is concerned. So I'll be sharing an assignment with you. You have to do 3 textbook questions plus a little bit of extra questions, and that would be all for this play. We are left with birth now, 1 chapter and 1 poem, childhood. Okay, so we'll do that, and I've shared note making also with you. वो नोट मेकिंग अब एक बार देख लेना, बिकॉज you have your book हॉर्नबिल बुक है ना, उसके पीछे भी नोट मेकिंग दी हुई है. तो how you have to make notes, because you get a question, this is a question that you will be getting in your final exams and you would be getting in your 12th class board exams also. ठीक है, तो वो नोट्स आपने कैसे बनाने होते हैं. अब जैसे मैं आपको क्लास में पढ़ा रही हूँ, ठीक है, अब टीचर बोल रही है आपको हर चीज़ याद तो नहीं रहती ना, तो आपको नोट्स कैसे लेने होते हैं. So you get a question, you will get a passage, an entire passage, and you will be asked to make notes on that passage, and you will be asked to give a suitable title to that passage. ठीक है, तो आपने पूरा पैसेज पढ़ना है. सपोजिंगली आई जस्ट गिव यू एन एग्जांपल, और उसके बाद आप वो वीडियोस देख लेना जो मैंने आपको भेजे हैं. ठीक है, एक मेरा भी वीडियो है जिसमें एक आप ही की 11th क्लास के पिछले साल का बच्चे का पेपर है जो मैंने डिस्कस किया हुआ है. वो नोट मेकिंग वो भी मैंने शेयर किया आपके साथ. उसमें जो फाइनल में पेपर आया था उसमें जो नोट मेकिंग का पैसेज आया था वो डिस्कस किया कि क्या क्या करना चाहिए था और क्या क्या नहीं करना चाहिए आपको. ठीक है, सो आपको एक पैसेज आएगा, सपोजिंगली द पैसेज कंटेन्स 4 और 5 पैराग्राफ्स. तो आपने देख लेना है कि वो सबसे पहले तो पूरा पैसेज एक पर्टिकुलर चीज़ के बारे में होगा ना, सो वो अपने टाइटल उसके अकॉर्डिंग देना है. उसके बाद आपने देखना है फर्स्ट और सेकंड पैराग्राफ में, पैसेज के अंदर 5 पैराग्राफ्स हैं फॉर एग्जांपल, तो फर्स्ट सेकंड पैराग्राफ में किस चीज़ के बारे में बात हो रही है उनको आप क्लब कर सकते हो. इट इज़ नॉट नेसेसरी कि अगर 5 हैं तो आप पांचों को अलग अलग पॉइंट सब पॉइंट्स दोगे, ऐसा ज़रूरी नहीं है. आप देखो कि अगर फर्स्ट और सेकंड पैराग्राफ में सेम चीज़ की बात हो रही है, आप उसको क्लब कर लो, उन दोनों को एक सब टाइटल दे दो उसका. ठीक है, जिस चीज़ के बारे में बात हो रही है एक सब टाइटल दो. ठीक है, मतलब उसके बाद आपने सब पॉइंट्स देने हैं. ठीक है, तो सब टाइटल देके फिर पॉइंट हो गए, फिर उसके आगे सब पॉइंट्स. जैसे आपने टाइटल दिया उसके बाद 1 लिखा सब टाइटल, ठीक है, उसके आगे 1.1 उसका सब पॉइंट हो गया. फिर अगर आपने पॉइंट के आगे सब पॉइंट्स देने हैं वो तो 1.1a, 1.1b, 1.1c ऐसे आपने, और उसमें आपने इन नोट्स यू डू नॉट राइट कंप्लीट सेंटेंसेस, आप फ्रेजेस में बात करते हो, उसमें पूरे सेंटेंसेस नहीं यूज करते. एंड यू यूज एब्रीवेशंस ऑल्सो. एब्रीवेशंस जैसे आपने पूरे पैराग्राफ पूरे पैसेज में से 5 से लेकर 10 6 to 10 एब्रीवेशंस यूज करनी है. फॉर एग्जाम्पल for number we have abbreviation, for the word number we have abbreviation as NO dot. ठीक है, ऐसे आपने हर किसी वर्ड को नहीं एब्रीवेट करना. ठीक है, नॉर्मली हम जो एब्रीवेशन करते हैं हम वॉवल्स को उड़ा देते हैं. ठीक है, हाँ, गवर्नमेंट, जैसे गवर्नमेंट है GOVT डॉट, तो ये तो नॉर्मल वेल नोन एब्रीवेशंस हैं. आप बाकी वर्ड्स को भी एब्रीवेट कर सकते हो, बट ओनली 5 to 10 एब्रीवेशंस. फिर आपने की टू एब्रीवेशन बनाना है, एक बॉक्स बनाना है जिसमें आपने लिखना है कि आपने इस वर्ड को एब्रीवेट किया है तो ये ओरिजिनल वर्ड क्या था. ठीक है, तो ऐसे आपके टाइटल का 1 नंबर होगा. वैसे ये 8 मार्क्स का क्वेश्चन आया करता था, बट क्योंकि अब आपका पेपर ही आधा हो गया है, ठीक है ना, 40 मार्क्स का पेपर होगा तो ये 5 मार्क्स का आएगा आपका, 4-5 मार्क्स का नोट मेकिंग, जिसमें 1 मार्क इज फॉर द टाइटल, 1 मार्क इज फॉर द एब्रीवेशन एंड लिस्ट, एंड फिर बाकी आपके 3 मार्क्स आपके वो जो होंगे कैसे आप पॉइंट सब टाइटल दे रहे हो, ठीक है। एक बार आप वो वीडियोस देख लो जो मैंने आपको भेजे हैं, फिर मैं आपको एक पैसेज दूंगी फॉर नोट मेकिंग एंड वील डिस्कस दैट, ठीक है। एक बार देख लो कि हमने करनी कैसे है नोट मेकिंग। सो यू शुड नो हाउ टू मेक नोट्स, you should know how to give it the passage a suitable title, how to use different subtitles and write points under them and sub points under them. So ये compulsory question है रीडिंग सेक्शन में। आपका जैसे रीडिंग सेक्शन में कॉम्प्रीहेंशन होता है ना, कॉम्प्रीहेंशन बेस्ड क्वेश्चन होते हैं, एक नोट मेकिंग आता है आपको 11th में भी और 12th में भी। सो इज इट क्लियर टू ऑल ऑफ यू ऑनलाइन स्टूडेंट? एक बार आपको मैंने नोट मेकिंग के कुछ वीडियोस भेजे थे, उसमें से आप देख लो वीडियोस। मैंने आपको बताया कि जो मैंने वीडियो बनाया था जब ये कोविड, क्योंकि ये कोविड हमारा कब आया है 2020 में, जो 2020 का 11th का बैच था, क्योंकि उनके फाइनल एग्जाम हो चुके थे, तो वो डिस्कस हुआ हुआ है उसमें, ठीक है। वो भी आप देख सकते हो, उसमें बच्चों ने अच्छा किया हुआ है, ठीक है। उसमें क्या कुछ गलतियाँ हैं या कैसे और बेटर आप कर सकते हो, सो यू कैन वॉच दैट, ठीक है। सो दैट इज़ ऑल फॉर टुडे।